Hi everyone, Dr. Stichter here. I just wanted to send out this video because believe it or not, this is the video that's going to be describing what you need to do for our final. I cannot believe we're almost at the end of the semester already. So the way I'm structuring it is it's a 2 week assignment, but with the Thanksgiving break, you actually have 3 weeks. But I do want you to take time over Thanksgiving to relax, rejuvenate, spend time with your family. So please do not feel like you have to work on this over the week of Thanksgiving. If you choose to do so, that's up to you. But I think 2 weeks will be more than enough time to get this done. So you have this week, and then you have the week after Thanksgiving break to get it done up until December 4th. Please do not wait until December 4th to do this. Okay, it is a little lengthy, but it's again nothing you can't handle. Similar to the midterm, where the midterm you had to do a lesson plan and work in technology. This is similar to that, but what you're going to be doing for the final is something that all teachers work on eventually, and that is a project-based learning (PBL) assignment. And I'm tying it into community schools. The school that I worked for the last couple of years before I retired, here in Las Cruces, Lynn Middle School, was a community school. In fact, it was the first community school in Las Cruces. There's several now. There's a few elementary, middle, and I believe there's at least one high school. But a few years ago, Lynn was the only one. And then there's some spread out throughout the state. It's becoming more and more popular, and as students have those needs at school for community-based resources. So a lot of teachers do project-based learning that's tied right into the community schools, whether they're a community school or not. Because as my before I was at Lynn, I was at an elementary school, and we were at Hillrise here in Las Cruces, and we were talking about possibly becoming a community school. And my principal at the time said, we are a community school whether we're designated one or not, meaning that no matter what, you still need to work with the community, and you still need to work with your stakeholders, with your parents, with people within your community who provide you with resources, guest speakers, and so on. So, but once you have that designated name of being a community school, it ties into funding, it ties into resources. They allow you to have a community school coordinator, which works with bringing in health resources and food resources and all medical, all sorts of things. So I know at Lynn we had a dentist on site. We had a room with clothes for students. Once a month they would give out food packages to the students. So they really tried to help students in all areas of life, not just educationally, but medically and psychologically and emotionally and all sorts of things. So again, what the community normally would do. So and we really did try to keep the parents involved. A lot of times people say that community schools take the place of parents. We didn't see it that way at Lynn. We saw it, and they still don't see it that way. They're still a community school. The way they see it is that the parents are part of the partnership, and they bring parents in, and they want them to be part of the community. They're not trying to exclude them or do their job for them. They really want them to be partners in learning. Anyway, so for this project, what you're going to do, or for this final, I should say, is you're going to come up with a project that ties into the community. It can be anything that you might think a school can get involved in within either the school community or the actual community at large. Whatever community you're thinking about being in, whether it be Las Cruces or somewhere else, Gadsden, somewhere else, wherever you're thinking about teaching, even if it's in El Paso or somewhere else in the country. But anyway, but for example, if you were here in Las Cruces, again, you might do something at your school that benefits the school. And again, you have to tie it back to academics. And for our purposes for this class, you have to also tie in some of the technology tools that we have been learning throughout the semester. So, for example, I know when I was a teacher, one of the things that we did the one semester was that we tied it into working with homeless people. So we brought in some of the local community members that deal with the homeless population, and we got together care packages for the homeless. So the students worked on that as far as their project. They wrote letters to them, so that brought in the English language learning. They had to figure out a budget, so that brought in math. They had to they created a video of their project, so that brought in the technology, the speaking and listening aspect of it. So the writing. So it's very cross curricular. There was some art involved. So as you can imagine, you can get very creative with it and bring in all sorts of areas of again language arts, math, reading, writing, social studies, science. Social studies doesn't necessarily just deal with the past. It deals with community. It deals with government. It deals with political, with all sorts of things. So you can definitely tie in the community aspect of the social studies as well, and government, like I said, and all that. So anyway, so what I want you to do is think of a project that your students can work on. What you have to decide, and this is in the form that you're going to be filling out as part of this, basically your lesson plan. That you need to decide if you're going to allow your students to work in teams, in partners, or individually. I've done all. So sometimes I allow the students to choose. You're always going to have those students who say, "I want to work by myself," and sometimes you allow them to, and sometimes you say, "You know what? I know you want to work by yourself, but in the real world, when you get a job, your boss may say you have to work with other people, and you have to work within a team, and you don't have a choice." So the way around that is to do more than one project, and you could say that for this time I'll let you work by yourself, but next time you're going to have to work in it. The next project we do, you're going to have to work on a team or with a partner. That usually works out for the best, because then they at least get the one project to work on by themselves. Yeah, you can see my wife sneaking out in the background with the cat. But anyway, so again, decide on that. Decide what you're if you're going to allow. Keep it to one project though. Don't have each group working on a separate project. You're going to drive yourself crazy trying to keep all those resources and all those things. All those balls in the air, juggling everything. Just keep it to one project and have each student. You may have student groups work on a different phase of the project. That's up to you. Or you may have them each work on an idea for the project and see what they come up with and see how many ideas you can generate for your project. So, but again, don't go crazy trying to come up with 7 different projects for 7 different teams. Keep it to one thing. And like I said, what I did sometimes is have one group work on one aspect of the project, another group work on. But again, for the purposes of this final, keep it simple and have everybody work on the same project. And again, what I want you to do is just describe in detail throughout your lesson plan. And I've given you prompts along the way. Like one is, what is your overall question? What do you want? What are you trying? What do you want the students to answer? What story are you trying to tell with this? What are they trying to answer? What are they trying to accomplish? And the nice thing about this is when students do something in the classroom, if they're learning spelling or they're learning multiplication, if they're learning, whatever, sometimes they don't see the real world application. This is real world application right away, because you're bringing in guest speakers, you're bringing in people from the community, you're tying it into something that they can see at the end is going to be real world, where it's going to make a difference. If they're doing a canned food drive, if they're raising money for veterans, if they're whatever, there's all sorts of, you can imagine if they're doing a cleanup of the school, if they're doing recycling, or a recycling project. I know the one year we decided to do a compost thing, and we partnered with the cafeteria, and we started a compost heap. So all sorts of things you can do. You can partner up with people in the school, or you can partner up with people in the community. If you have a parent that has a pretty awesome job or career, that they work for the government, or they work for the military, or they work in a really cool job that you might want to and they're willing to partner up with you, go that route. That's how you might get some funding and some resources. Again, think about that. That's one of the questions that you're going to be answering in your plan is how are you going to pay for this? Sometimes you have resources already from your school and your principal is willing, if you go to your principal and you say we're doing this, they may be able to fund it for you. You may be able to get it from your school district, but a lot of times that money's already spent. So a lot of times you're going to the community and asking them for to fund the project. So you basically almost have to have like a business plan. So that's where the more you plan this out ahead of time before you present it to someone and say this is what we want to do, and it has to be very thorough and very thought out. They'll usually anything for kids they'll normally back you unless you're asking for too much. I mean, you're not going to be asking for thousands of dollars, but if you're just asking for a smaller amount, 100 or less, or even 200 or less, normally you're going to be okay with that, depending on what type of business you're looking at and what type of project you're trying to accomplish. So anyway, but like I said, you're going to be deciding on how students work together, what they're going to be working on, how they're going to accomplish that. You're going to be, of course, tying in technology. So, do you want them to create a video, like an Animoto video? Do you want them to create a blog? Do you want them to have things in Google? Are you going to be using Google Classroom? Are you going to be using light binders to kind of organize things all together? There's so many. Are you going to have a Voki that's going to be your like introduction to this project? How are students going to present the project at the end? Are you going to invite everyone, which you should, yes. So, are you going to invite your principal? Are you going to invite other teachers? Are you going to invite parents? Yes, you should. So, community members, especially those who were involved, those who came in and were guest speakers, those who came in and provided you with funds and resources, invite them in. Have like a launch party, if you will, or a final party, and provide some cookies and lemonade or whatever, and have a little party at the end. Make a big deal out of it because it is a big deal. But the bigger deal that you make it out for the students and the parents and the community members, the more buy-in you're going to get. If you make this out to be something that's really special, they're going to buy into it more than, oh, this is your normal run-of-the-mill project that is done in a few days and everybody forgets about it in 2 days. No, this needs to be like a big effort, a culminating thing that you work on maybe for a quarter or for a semester. And I would say no more than that. Probably a quarter is best, but a couple of weeks to a quarter is best. But really make it something that lasts over several weeks and gets the students excited and they can see that you're building towards something, and really keep the parents involved. Have the students keep the parents involved. That's where the blog can come in. That's where videos can come in. That's where a class website can come in. All sorts of things that use with that we learn with technology here throughout the semester that you can use to inform your community, inform your parents. Again, keep your principal involved. Allow this to be showcased for something that you do, that when your principal goes to evaluate you, you have this as something that you can say, hey, this is how I involve community members. This is how I did cross curricular instruction. This is how I did this. This is how I did that. All within one project, and it really showcases your teaching. The final thing is, how are you going to grade it? A rubric is always best. One of the things that you need to consider here is, if students are going to be working together, how are you going to grade that? Are you going to give them just one grade for the team or for the partners? Or are you going to give a team grade and an individual grade? My advice, the second one, the latter, is give a team grade or a partner grade and give an individual. And I think you can figure out why, but I'm going to tell you anyway, is a lot of times when students work in partners or in teams, one person ends up doing more work than the other, or one person ends up doing all the work. Sometimes you as the teacher should allow that. If you're paying attention and you're working with the groups and you're going around and you're getting updates, no one should be doing all the work while everybody else is sitting back messing around. You shouldn't be allowing that to happen. So, but if you do notice that one person has really taken the role of leader or really taken the project to heart, really gave an extra effort. That's where the individual grade comes in, and you can reward them with more points than you would as for the whole. And then for the team, you can give a grade as well. So, but I always thought that was fair because again, students are going to put in different amounts of effort, and you want to recognize that, and then you can have that talk with the students who got a lower grade, and you can say you got a better grade because the team did well for the team grade, but you got a lower grade individually because I saw sometimes you weren't giving your best effort. You were sitting back, you were letting other people um, do the work while you were kind of sitting there playing around or drawing or whatever. Sometimes kids do things to kind of make it look like they're working when they're not. We've all, if you haven't seen that, trust me, when you go into classrooms, you will. And as the teacher, you need to be on that. So this video is getting lengthy. I don't want to have too much here. So have a great Thanksgiving break. One more thing, the evaluations for this class are available on Canvas. Please take the time. You should have got an email on that. Please take the time to evaluate me and the course, and I see those afterwards. I don't see who said what. I just see the comments, but I don't know who they came from. They're anonymous. So I don't feel like I'm going to know who said what. So hopefully you've enjoyed this class. Hopefully you've gotten something out of it. I think we definitely learned lots and lots of technology tools that I think many of you have said you've enjoyed, and I hope you take into your classroom. And I hope you use them also during your college career and your other classes as well. Some of you have said you're already doing that. So I think these are very useful, and they'll be something that will serve you throughout your career. If you have any questions, please, as always, feel free to reach out to me, email me, and I will get back to you even over the break. I'm going to be around. So and then but again, if you have any questions, I will meet with you on YouTube, and but please do those evaluations as soon as you can. All right, take care. Have a great break, and thanks for everything. I'll talk to you soon.